What is up, man? We are here. Now, I'm going to do a little bit, I'm going to explain a little bit of what's in Daylyt's What's Free Freestyle. This is another one that I enjoyed. So, I am going to definitely be stopping this because there's a lot of info in here that he's trying to express and say. And a lot of people probably wouldn't get it on first go, but that is how Daylyt gets down with what he does. So let's go ahead and check it out.
Yeah, I said it once and I say it again. There's no remorse for those who don't know we more than what they say we are. What's free? Ain't no such thing as free. Ain't no such thing as woke. Ain't no such thing as sleep. Ain't no such thing as earth. The simulation that hurts. The firmament could be worse. The earth could have been flat. The truth shall come around.
I like that. The earth could have been flat, but the truth will come around. That's a pretty slick little bar he threw in there. Now he's talking about the simulation uh, theory that I've heard about, but I don't know a whole lot about because I haven't brought myself to actually investigate it yet. Just nothing that has been said within it has ever clicked with me, right? That's all I'm saying with that is nothing ever been said within the fact that we're just living in a simulation. We're not actually here. Theory has never sat well with me because I've never heard anything that just clicked to be like, well, okay, maybe, you know what I'm saying? Like, maybe. I haven't heard anything yet. Once I do, then that's when I'll probably, all right, I'll look into it. But right now, I'm just like, nah.
Step in the black circle, they hurt you, hunt you down. White ghosts, these are clans in the afterlife. Bible study now. Tell them niggas we ain't asked for Christ. Horus passed the dice, they had our box number, shame, hunger.
Said, tell them that we didn't ask for Christ. Horus, dice game. Basically, what he's saying is there's a teaching that basically the teachings, the writings on Jesus just came from the Egyptian writings on Horus. And what he's saying by like dice game, he's talking about twice, like there being two, like basically a Jesus and a Horus. So that's what he means by that, because like it's two dice. You throw two dice in a dice game. So that's what he's talking about. But there has been writings that have said that Jesus came from Horus, and there's also been investigations showing that that is not the case. You get what I'm saying? Like, to where those writings are actually talking about someone else. They're not actually, they're not copying the Horus writings. You decide.
The game was free, buy a house, still pay the taxes, pay the taxi, it costs to be whipped around town.
What's free? Buy the house and still pay the taxes. That's the thing. You never truly own anything that you have. You buy a car, you pay it off, you're still paying taxes just for owning the car. You buy a house, you pay it off, you're still paying taxes for owning a house. You buy land, pay it off, you're still paying taxes to pay it off. You're constantly paying something. You just gotta go from paying per month to paying per year, to be honest with you. That's the way it works. So when people be like, man, I own this, I own this, I own this, not really if you get into the complications of. And then if you get into the executive orders and you get into the laws of, you really don't own it at all. Just putting that out there.
They don't crack me, the school system that trapped me. They don't tell us them higher ups eating black meat. Dark web melanin selling cat seed. Deep as it get. Feed the children is where they eat the children. 51 shades of grays. Give me my space, taste baby blood. My space time, top 8, friends listed. These men twisted, sun skin mystic, mystical beings, human beanstalk, livestock. Who got the power to set back my clock?
He kind of gets into this whole really rich people are above the law. Okay? Put it that way. He's getting into this whole thing with buying kids molestation, You know what I'm saying? Like, he's saying they're up there eating black meat and the slave trade. He's talking about there was once an investigation done on French people who were in Africa, like taking black kids out of Africa and taking them to France. I don't know what was happening, but that investigation was done, and it had shown that multiple organizations from France had went into Africa under disguise of aid and actually removed black kids from out of Africa to France, and they don't know where they went. So he's talking about them taking them. We don't know if they go. They probably go to be someone's servant. They might go to be someone's experiment. We don't know what happens to them because there's no paper trail behind them being taken. You get what I'm saying? So that's kind of what he's getting to in that bar.
Whoa, controlling his time. Mineral hole in the mind. Columbus thoughts. Look at all the shit that Columbus brought. Rats, plagues, disease, germs, a lot to say. And this who y'all gave a holiday evil. Who brought
That bar should explain itself. I think we have come to the consensus that nothing that Columbus has done is worth the praise that he gets. And there's this thing where people say like you're being a Columbus hater, but to be honest with you, it's not being a Columbus hater. It's just common sense. If someone walks into your home and say, "I discovered $500, it's mine because I discovered it," and you be like, "But you're in my house. That's my money." You know what I'm saying? When you start breaking stuff down to a basic understanding and you remove that complications to something really, really basic, that's when you just kind of know that it's bullshit.
brought crack to the country? Just yesterday, somebody told me go back to my country.
So true.
Al Bundy think he aboriginal. Nigga, no, I might let my son kill you. Nah, I'll let the sun kill you. If God created the sun, when the sun out, you niggas run. And what that make y'all? Devils. I guess I be the rebel. What color is sugar? What color is salt? What color is crack? What color is dope? What color is the oppressor? What color is ghost? What color is heaven? What color is Jesus? Who the fuck is Jesus? A few letters too new for this story. The gory it gets, but that's his story. What about the true story? Yeah, we read the Bible, but what about the blue story? The book of Enoch. He watching. Shit.
There's books in the Bible, books that are supposed to be manuscripted for the Bible that are not included into the Bible. Some say for particular reasons, but this is what I tell people when it comes down to the Bible. The Bible is manufactured. It being manufactured means that once it was comprised and someone was given authority over that comprised manuscript, then they got to say what could and could not go into the Bible. Now, people say, well, it's not included in the Bible, so I don't take it as it being part of the Bible. So I offer you this little explanation to how I view it. Let's say me, you, and one of your siblings. World War III pops off, correct? And things is destroyed everywhere. Everything's destroyed, right? You write something during that time. Your sibling writes something during that time. I write something during that time, okay? And it's all our perspectives on what happened during the time that World War III popped off and how long that we lived and survived and saw the events of World War III. 300 years later, 400 or 500 years later after World War III, you know, humans are going around living whatever society they have rebuilt and is now. And they have this book wrote. This book is supposed to be true events of what happened during World War III, so there would never be a World War IV, right? Now, a book, you and your siblings' writings are part of this book. This book is manufactured, it's spread all over the world, and that's the book. Let's say during that 400 years later, my writings are found, right? Now, they're not going to go back and stop manufacturing of that book to include my writings. So then what you're going to get is people who take that book as truth, and it's the only truth, when someone presents my writings and say, hey, my writings also go with this, They're gonna be like, no, they don't, because they're not comprised of this book. So therefore, that can't be real. But according to the explanation, what I wrote was from where I was, my perspective, and what happened during the same time, what you wrote and what your sibling wrote. So when he's talking about the book of Enoch, when he's talking about the Apocrypha of the Bible, all these different books that have been written, I've been through like 6 of them. There's a lot of BS involved, and there's also some things that very well coincide with what is written inside of the Bible. So that's kind of what he's talking about.
Y'all had me thinking Nimrod meant dumb. It was many traps in the slums. Nights hanging with my niggas. Never thinking about them hanging niggas. Nigga, we was slanging, they was slanging niggas. Stuck in they slang, look how they language killers. We can't learn other than what they provide us.
Now he's talking about language control. You ever hear the pen is mightier than the sword? You ever like there's certain things that are controlled easily by the knowledge and by how they are put into play. From my understanding, the English language is like the dumbest language. Basically, what I mean by that, once you learn English, it's harder for you to comprehend other languages unless those languages were a part of your childhood. So let's say for some of you biracials or some of you people who have family members from other countries, you're learning 2 languages. It's easier for you to pick up a 3rd language and a 4th language. Those of us who've only learned English, as we get older, it becomes harder for us to pick up other languages. No matter how fast the process and the teaching is supposed to be for you to understand, it becomes harder because supposedly there's a language out there that is a lot more universal to the world versus English. But they spread English everywhere. It's like a dominant language in some countries. Anyway, that's what he's talking about. Now, we can't learn anything but what they teach us because we only speak their language.
Look how the Spaniards did us. We go yay for St. Patrick's Day. Hey, all the pygmies got sprayed. They celebrate victory simply crazy. We want to...
Talking about St. Patrick's, he led the, basically, the genocide of the pygmy aborigines of that area. That is something, man, I talked about that years ago with somebody. Yeah, there was pygmies. There's a story where it's told that St. Patrick ran all the snakes out of the country. Really, those were people called the pygmy people. They were a colored people who were short and small, and they basically slaughtered them and ran them out and genocided them out of the country.
Be played, we getting played. Starved the homeland, we asked for aid. They gave us AIDS, Ebola. Took the best down, the stress pile. Conquer America, go west now. Virus, dehydrated the Grand Canyon, stand in the Dead Sea. Reverse shit is wild. See Egypt in denial. Cleopatra was black as Shaka Khan, but you ain't shot kind of shot collars. Got us stuck, praying to they God, got us fucked. Angels white and demons black. See, that part don't sit right with me. Google God, what do you see?
Oh, the old good old colorism tactics. Anyway, I'm gonna let it play out, then I'll discuss that at the end.
Not a person that look like me, see that's the key, see. Mormons say it's cursed to be our species. Dark skin, when it's too bright out. It's too many mistakes in that Bible, bring me some white out. These little white lies be the biggest, these biggest is Clayton Bigsby. Some niggas really working for the clan, you the man, you Uncle Ruckus. What the fuck is our niggas thinking, drinking Ciroc? What the F is our niggas thinking, drinking F and vodka? Take 5 L's each time niggas rock Louis V. Gucci put it.
On that line about drinking Ciroc, drinking vodka, stuff like that, someone else had a very, very interesting line about drinking alcohol and it being a stigma upon minorities. B.O.B. says something along the lines like, drinking with natives, but that's a self-trap. You know what I'm saying? Like, basically, how natives respond to alcohol, how bad it is for them, and how easily they become alcoholics. But it's made from white people, and that's how and basically natives are drinking it, right? Those little things right there is why Daylyt will never ever be a major anything. So you said, well, if I'm thinking drinking Ciroc, and we know who makes Ciroc. You know what I'm saying? Like Diddy makes Ciroc. Those are shots at particular people that will always keep his career kind of. They'll keep his career muffled because they don't want these type of things to become the popular opinion.
Put us in the trap and Gucci got our pocket strap. I'm happy Waka back in his right mind. Got rid of his materialistic shit for this lifetime.
If you wondering what he's talking about, Waka Flocka, he has a video out talking about not all black people are black. We're categorized as black in this country. Very, very interesting video, and there's a lot of truth to what he's saying. You should definitely look it up.
One trip to the homeland and turned a thug to a grown man. Jay seen that little girl walk miles for water, like how could they slaughter her? In a world of evil, how could I bring my daughter up? Too many programs for the female. If you ain't taught her nothing, fall for a dumb nigga who bought her something.
That right there is a very, 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 very important line, and it goes for women. You fall for dudes who buy you shit. You fall for it. You fall for traditions of being bought shit. How many stories is it out there of a dude bought a wedding ring of some type and it wasn't good enough, so the woman turned him down? He bought a woman a car, it wasn't the type of car she wants, so she turned it down. They got you guys trapped up here. A car is used for transportation to where you need to go. It doesn't matter how it looks, it only matters how it operates. A ring is supposed to be just a symbol that you are with another person. You can drop that $20,000 ring in your sink and never find it. I'm saying they keeping y'all trapped up because when a dude buys you something, you flip out and go crazy. You're all happy over it. Chocolates and roses and all this type of stuff. And then your daughter sees that and she's expecting the same exact thing. But you're not giving him credit for if he stays home and he provides your living for you, which is your food, which is your comfort. See, he's buying you something every single day. Anyways, sorry.
Knowledge is the key, you see your seed in the seed. Every deed from a dad is magic, avoid Magic City. Tragedy upbringing, they screaming for a baller. Remember we was young, had hoes sprung on us callers. With a game that'll break through anything they daddy taught them.
Yep.
Mother the black queens, anesthesia Priscilla. Vanilla beans is black, vanilla ice cream is never mind. I'll save that one for a better time, but even time not real. Just think about all the times we killed our own kind. See niggas fire that still, but we run from 12 with a 12 gauge. Yo, this a well cake.
Isn't that crazy? Isn't that crazy? That line right there to me was like one of the best hard-hitting lines. Y'all will run up on your fellow minority, blast them, kill them, drop them, but you got the piece on you and you running from the cops. With all the killers, all the thugs, all the gangsters, it's a lot of crooked cops walking around, getting away with blasting kids. With all the killers in your so-called city, with all the gangsters, these crooked police officers, black or white, because I group crooked cops together, okay? I look at the cops as a gang, like I look at any other gang, okay? They lie for each other, they cheat for each other, they do all those things for one another. There's a lot of crooked cops walking around when on the block, some of y'all supposed to be savage. I pose that question to you. Y'all supposed to be savage. Some people are doing time, life even, for killing their own, but ain't never killed a cop. Okay.
Mental lock is simple plots for the block. Your whole hood in a box, nigga, stop. You lift the stock, you just stock for they Christmas stockings. For all my real niggas who ready to get this poppin'.
He said that your whole hood is in a box. He said you're just stock for somebody's Christmas stockings. He's talking about the private prison system where people make a lot of money off how many inmates they can get in and make you do labor for slave prices or free even, while they're charging a whole lot of money for that labor. That's what he's talking about.
300 Spartans versus Starship. Our problems ain't white, it's the Martians.
All right, that part right there, I also know about that theory too, the whole Martian theory. Also have not heard enough about it for it to actually click with me, so I don't have an opinion on that exactly. But I'm just saying that because I know of what he's talking about. I don't know what he's talking about. I heard something about white people being from Mars, something like that, and everybody else is from here, and yada yada yada. So that's the extent of what I know, but I've never looked into that, so I'm just gonna be real with you. Anyways, I gave all the explanations I wanted to give. There's some more stuff in there I could have break down. The whole colorism ordeal, skin color being it's a selling metaphor for some things. That's why they bleach your bread. That's why they bleach your sugar. That's why flour is bleached. That's why all these different things are bleached, because white is supposed to be representation of good, light, so forth and so on. Dark, that's why angel cake is supposedly like the whitest cake when you break it open. And that's why dark, black, is normally always considered to be in the negative category, which is like devil's food, you know what I'm saying? Stuff like that. So, anyways, you all leave your comments down below. This video probably ran a little long because of all the explanations, but it's a lot of information in this little 4 minutes. This is what I talk about when I hear what's free verse. Info. But, to be honest, a lot of people too dumb to understand what he's talking about. So I gotta be real with you. They're kind of dumb. That's gonna do it for your boy. Leave your comments down below. I try to do my best to break that up to be understood. If you have any more information, or maybe I missed something, or you want to add on to, put it down below in the comment section. Thank you all for your support, even. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Your boy, it's Nixon.